So it's Saturday the 4th in China, Ezhou, Wuhan, Hubei province, at my local coffee shop again, getting my coffee fix for the day. Today is a special day in China. Today you're not allowed to play games, you're not allowed to watch television. It's celebrating or commiserating, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's celebrating the death of people, or the, I don't know how to put that, yeah. So check these pineapples out, ready peeled, ready to go. They're looking cool, they taste great. Yeah, so the flags are at half mast today because today's the celebration of people that have passed away, etc. over the years, not just because of the virus, but anybody that's passed away. And yeah, they burn money and not allowed to play games or anything like this today. Yeah, so a few interesting things on the news that I've read in the last few hours. One that's really concerning me is the free daycare that they've been secretly discussing behind closed doors and not let anybody in on. If you check the ABC news reports online, you'll read all about it, and make sure you check that before you decide to criticise what I have to say. In China, no one's been at school or preschool since this virus started, or even before, because they were actually on school holidays at the time. And to allow children to go to preschool, etc., in this time is absolutely ludicrous, because they're carriers. And I believe, and this is my own personal opinion, but I actually believe that the government are doing this to herd immunise the children, allowing the schools and preschools to be open, because they don't really get affected. However, that's at the cost of our elderly. And if you think about it, it makes total sense, you know, letting the children go, because the young are the most important in the country and the old are disposable. And it's as simple as that. It's reality, it's the truth, and that's what I believe is going on. Meanwhile, down on the Yangtze River, that few thousand-year-old castle that sits in the middle of it, and the water actually comes up to, you know, nearly above those walls. It's very low at the moment. These ships are coming down from Wuhan. They've been full of iron ore and coal from Australia. They've come up to the steelworks up here. Why would the government introduce free childcare in a situation like this, when you know, most of the time they charge exorbitant prices, and some of the highest prices in the world, to have your children at preschool? Now they want them to go to preschool, and they're offering free daycare in a situation where we're all supposed to be self-isolating and in lockdown. That doesn't make any sense to me. It only means one thing to me, and that's that they want their children to actually catch this and build up an immunity. Like I said, at the cost of the rest of the community. The other thing that's really concerned me, that I read, that Australia, out of the goodness of their heart, like fucking bullshit, are going to be opening up some flights to go to the UK and America to bring home our citizens. Well, they've had months and months to do this. England and America are some of the worst affected countries in the world. They've got huge death tolls. England yesterday had over 600. America, which don't report their true numbers, of course, they've had thousands. And we want to bring flights back from their country with patriots on it that could be carrying this virus, and bring them back to Australia. You know, the Australian government own a lot of shares in Virgin and Qantas, and to open up those flight routes to bring home their citizens is not true. They're just doing this for a publicity stunt to try and make it look like they're doing something. They should have done this months ago and brought people home, not waited to the middle of the virus when it's going fucking crazy throughout the world, and then try and make themselves look good. Well, it's just unbelievable. I've been stuck here for over 3 months now. Yeah, last week. Yeah, and as for that Alan Joyce that likes to deep throat penises, that little leprechaun from Ireland that runs Qantas, it's not even an Australian citizen, tried to sink Virgin Airlines, and now he's trying to promote flights back to the UK. What is he trying to get home himself, or get citizens that are English or Irish or Scottish back to the UK? He doesn't care about the Australians. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't be doing this. It's absolutely astounding that they even want to think about bringing people home now. I'm one of those people stuck overseas, and the risks involved of getting on a flight with a few hundred other people that have been stuck in those countries with an absolute huge percentage of coronavirus cases is astounding. Why would you want to get on an aeroplane with 300 other people only to get infected and then go and sit in quarantine in Australia for 14 days? Let alone having to get to Hong Kong or something to get on one of these flights and having to do 14 days quarantine there prior to even getting on the flight. So it's just a ridiculous idea. Unfortunately, if you're stuck overseas, you just have to suck it up like I have and deal with it, because you didn't get home, we didn't get home. And you know, the government making decisions like that just to try and appease the public and make themselves look like they've done a good job is just ridiculous. They're putting Australian lives at risk again, and it's just not acceptable. No, not acceptable whatsoever. Wake up, people, see what the government are doing, and you know, take it on board. The other problem is, I've been harping on this ever since day one when I started doing my videos, that face masks are imperative. Now America's telling everybody, whether they're sick or not, to wear face masks. The World Health Organization has changed its tune now and has decided the same thing, because China's the only one that's had any success in stopping this cross-infection rate in the public, and that's because everybody, whether they're sick or not, wears face masks. You have no idea if you've got this virus. No one knows how this virus spreads, and like I've said before, everybody should be covering their faces and eyes, etc., as best they can. Otherwise, there's just going to be more and more cross-infections. A simple reason of the fact they were telling us not to wear face masks was no country had enough appropriate supplies of face masks. They didn't want people to stress. Gladys Berejiklian the other day said that she couldn't work out why there's so much cross-infection in Sydney, and they couldn't find the carriers. Well, they won't find the carriers because they don't show any signs, and if people don't start wearing face masks, there's going to be cross-infection throughout the community until this is actually taken care of and done. That's why we're all still wearing them, and that's as simple as that. Yeah, and another thing I was reading, Brendan Murphy, the health expert for the Australian government, quoted saying that he suspects that the world's virus rate is actually 20 to 30% higher than what's been quoted by most countries, and that he even had the audacity to say that Australia is the only country that's telling the truth and reporting the accurate numbers. Well, I seriously doubt Australia are reporting the most accurate numbers. They are not testing everybody, so they have no idea who's actually got it and who hasn't. And to quote that China hasn't is strictly unforgiving. You know, this country's onto it. They've done everything they possibly can, a lot more than Australia's ever going to do. And for Brendan Murphy, who's actually on the payroll for the government, to make such ridiculous statements and say that Australia's the only one that's actually reporting the truth is absurd, absolute absurdity. And people in Australia got to remember that these people that are quoting all these figures, etc., for the Australian government are actually paid by the Australian government to say this. So, you know, unlike me that just do this off for nothing and just off the top of my head, because I'm sitting on the outside watching. It's like watching a silly TV show, you know, what's going on over there, and people are so believing what the government say. It's just dumbfounding. Brendan Murphy's also said that we don't need face masks. It's only important that medical staff and people working in the industry needs it. Well, that's ludicrous as well. We've all known that from the start that that's not right. And you know, the World Health Organization's changed their tune, like I've said. The Americans, lots of other countries have changed their tune. They're not complaining about the quality of the Chinese standards of the machinery and the health products coming out of China. They just want to protect their own industry. The only industry that's actually, the only factory that's complained about the products from China are the sole manufacturers of face masks in Australia, and they're just trying to protect their own and make more profit on their own and themselves, rather than worrying about the Australian public's health. This is all about politics. It's all about, you know, profits, money, and it's not about people's lives. Like I said, we're just pawns in this, and unfortunately it's going to cost a lot of people's lives because of the situation all these governments have got us in. The American military force is rife with this virus. They're not reporting how many they've actually got, but it's rife throughout. You know, there's 3,000 people on one of the aircraft carriers off Guam at the moment that have got this virus. They've never reported their first case in America. They've never admitted to how far back this actually goes, and they're very quiet about how many are in the military. So if you guys do your homework and look online and find out a few facts, you'll find that the American military is rife with this. Yeah, people online are always, commenting and asking me if the facts and the figures in China are correct. Well, I'm sort of over answering this question because China wouldn't have let us out of lockdown and relax some of the laws that they have, only to be reinfected. I doubt is very many countries at all that are reporting the true facts. I doubt very much Australia's reporting the true facts because they left it so long. They aren't reporting a lot of things that's going on in the world. They're repressing a lot of information. Australians are unfortunately very naive to this and think other countries are the only ones that do it. Well, we're one of the worst offenders of it, us in America, and you guys have got to wake up and realise that, because it's your lives that are at stake, and it's you, the public, that they're keeping information from. Get online, have a good look, have a good investigation on your own before you start criticising me and the information I'm trying to help you guys with. I'm risking an awful lot to tell you people things from China, and I've been at this for months now trying to warn Australia of the risks involved, only for the government to, every time I say something, a few days later they seem to react and seem to do something that I might have actually suggested for the last week. And everything I've told you guys so far has come true. It's like the masks that I've been harping at, on and on and on and on. I'm sure everyone's fucking tired of hearing about it. But now the World Health Organisation's changed their tune on it, which is about time. The American government, like I said, have changed their tune on it, and you watch me, the Australian government will change their tune very quickly. Like I've said before, Brendan Murphy's paid to say everything he is to try and keep the Australians at bay and keep them believing what the Australian government want them to believe. Look, guys, for those cynics out there that don't really like to hear what I have to say, I'm not asking them to watch my videos. You don't have to choose to watch my videos. You don't have to believe anything I say. It's up to you guys. What I purely say is what I believe, and from what I read online and in newspapers, and yeah, simple as that. I don't make any of this shit up. This is just purely what I'm taking in myself, and from what I understand what's going on in the world. I'm not telling anyone to to follow me or to have to believe what I've got to say. That's purely up to them. I'm just saying what I think and how I feel about it. And yeah, so all those people that send me messages regarding how I got my information, etc., like that, well, fuck yous, mate. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. I don't give a fuck, really. So that's as simple as that. If you don't like it, don't listen. Sweet. I'm doing this purely to try and help people. I'm not being facetious in any way. I'm trying to protect the public, all us normal people in this world, from what's really going on, and that's as simple as that. Anyway, that's about all I got to say today. So I'll read the newspapers tonight and online and whatever else information I can get, and I'll let you know tomorrow about my thoughts and feelings about what's happening. Meanwhile, take care, folks. Try and mask up, take precautions of your families, and do what you can to get through this mess we're all in.